That will transition us to our main story of the show, and that is the legacy of Hulk Hogan. Of course, Hulk Hogan died at 71, and TMZ first reported the news, as I feel like they always somehow get news of a celebrity's death quicker than anybody else, including uh,
including the families.
I was just gonna say Kobe Bryant. I think like
Right.
TMZ dropped that before, like the family knew through freaking TMZ, which is insane. But yes, TMZ reported the news. They said the medics were dispatched to Hogan's home, and operators stated it was regarding a cardiac arrest. Um, on July 11th, Hogan's wife Sky issued a statement on her husband's health because I think he had like a couple of pictures that he took. I don't know if he was doing an interview, but I haven't seen like pictures recently, but he did not look great in those pictures. Like he got super slim, and we just saw him like he was on Raw in January. So like the change in him was considerable. And earlier the month, his wife shut down rumors that he was on his deathbed. She wrote, "He's definitely not in a coma. His heart is strong, and there was never any lack of oxygen or brain damage. None of those rumors are true. He's been recovering from a major 4-level anterior cervical discectomy and fusion ACDF, which is an intense surgery with a long layered healing process. And of course, that was July 11th, and on July, I think it was either 24th. It was last week, the week of July 21st. He was reported as passed away. And say what you will about Hulk Hogan, but I think um, famous and infamous. He was a wrestling figure that I feel like nobody can deny changed the wrestling business. He is someone who I think across the globe was well known. And if you thought of pro wrestling, it was difficult to not think of Hulk Hogan. And a lot of people who normally aren't fans would bring up someone like Hulk Hogan or John Cena, like people who
The
really
Rock.
the Rock, people who kind of cross into that pop culture phenomenon. And Hulk Hogan was one of the first like pro wrestlers to actually do that. Um, you know, everything that he's done, right? People are complicated. I think that is that is something that you can say about everybody. And like him or hate him, he did leave an impact on the wrestling business. So I did want to talk a little bit about like I want to touch on little bits of his entire legacy and just have a conversation going. So, what? How do you feel like? Do you feel like Hulkamania could have happened without the Rock and wrestling connection or MTV exposure? And before that, of course, we want to start with like saying that Hulk Hogan in the '80s was like the star in wrestling. Like you couldn't escape Hulkamania for a decent chunk. And
He
he,
had his own restaurant in malls, dude.
yeah, he got
Hogan's
his. I
Beach.
mean, he got his.
That was later in life, though.
I mean, he put WWF on the map in the '80s, and WWF really never looked back. Of course, they had some hiccups in the mid '90s, and then it turned around again. Uh, in part also to Hulk Hogan, but we'll touch on that later.
New
But
Japan's first champion.
yeah, I mean, New Japan recently also shared their
Ichiban,
post as
number
well.
one.
So, do you feel like, Chris? Do you feel like Hulkamania could have happened without the Rock and Wrestling connection or the MTV exposure?
Is that the Saturday morning cartoon? Is that what you're talking about?
Well, Rock and Wrestling connection was so basically like it was the crossover
Mania
with
1.
like MTV, like
Oh yeah,
stars and people into wrestling. So like Cyndi Lauper, people like that whole MTV generation. There was the Rock and Wrestling connection where you had like music stars, people who were
yeah.
famous that crossed over into
Well,
the WWE.
Hulkamania was happening. Like I think people drank the Kool-Aid and Hulkamania was running wild. I think it would be more like does WrestleMania go on and stuff without the pop culture crossover. Uh yes, I would say it does. Maybe not to the extent that allowed it to with having Mr. T and Cyndi Lauper and all those people doing all these crossover things. I don't think it would have reached the heights. But again, like Vince McMahon, he put her bet all on black, right? He put it all down, and they were gonna bankrupt if it wasn't successful. So he put
That's the
it
WWE
All in.
propaganda. Yes, yeah, that's the
all in.
story of WrestleMania. Um, David, what do you think? Rock and Wrestling Connection. Like, if you want to comment on that, and also, what do you like? What do you think it is? It was about like Hulk Hogan. Do you think it was the character? What made him be like the breakout star? Because it could be other people, but it ended up being Hulk Hogan as this,
So like
superstar.
what? So Hulk Hogan left WWF, went to AWA, did his time in New Japan before and after, stood in Japan, and I think Rocky 3, and then having that, like Hulk Hogan was just such a recognizable figure. Like if you've seen him on TV, you're like, and this was, say this is '84, right? And pre Mania 1, you see him on TV, you see him on MTV, you're like, oh shit, it's Thunder Lips.
Hmm.
Can I just say I saw the was it Carson show where he does the interview? He was
Hmm.
27, 28. I'm like, damn. Man,
That's
built
a
different in the 80s, bro.
Right.
50
Yeah.
year old, 27-year-old for sure.
Yeah.
And and like if Hogan is like a fire or a wick, then like the rock and wrestling stuff is just like gunpowder.
Hmm. Yeah.
Cause I think everything he did leading up to it, it was kind of like just like the perfect alley oop
Yep.
for everything that became WWF and Hulk Hogan.
Reagan's
Yeah.
America. You needed that red, white, and
Right.
blue.
That,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
it's just like Mr. T, like they're fresh off of Rocky. Both of them are fresh off of Rocky 3. Like we don't see it, and a lot of viewers don't see it when they watch old stuff. But it's like Hogan had a time where he's coming out tied the tiger,
Yep.
and so it's just like a mixture of like all that. Like it wasn't that he was already pop culture because he was only like a 5-minute scene, but
Right.
that plus what you hear on the radio, what's in, right, like what's cool at that time. He already looked larger than life, so it was just like an easy buy-in. The international stuff like Japan was already there for his work, so it was just like the ultimate sphere bomb.
Yeah. And Chris, to your point, you said Reagan's America. I think that was also
That too.
pretty decent factor into like why he became popular because his persona was like I am a real American, right? Fight for the rights of every man. Giant, 6 foot,
Behemoth,
blonde haired, yeah, like American flag waving.
Thunder
Uh,
Lips,
say your prayer, eat your vitamins. Yeah, I mean, like that was we were in the middle of a Cold War with the Soviet Union, and this like there was a nationalistic like fervor of like we were talking about tribalism. I mean, this was like the United States
Americana.
and democracy versus Russia and communism, right?
Iron Sheik,
And
baby.
and that energy, I mean, I think that helped the energy of like Hulk Hogan's character really get shot into the stratosphere because this is like an outlet where you can like be like, yeah, America, look at this real American Hulk Hogan. And like you said, the Rocky 3 movie And this was before like he got super big. Like this was like, oh look, this is the guy from the Rocky movie.
Right.
Um, it was again like the perfect storm, and I think Vince McMahon saw money in his physique. He was charismatic, and yeah, the rest is history. And people enjoyed Hulk Hogan for, well, let's say, what is it, like 1986
Go at least
through.
2005.
Well, let's break it up because there was a period where like it was early 90s, around 91 or 92, where people were getting sick of Hulk Hogan.
Oh, the Hogan
Um,
fatigue.
of like, yeah, the Hogan fatigue was real. And again, like this.
Afghanistan.
Well, yeah, I mean, like the whole thing, with the what with oh my God, what was his name? Sergeant
Sergeant
Slaughter,
Slaughter.
Gulf
Sergeant
War.
Slaughter, and all
Mr.
that.
Iraq.
Yeah, and of course, like Bret Hart was with the WrestleMania 9 thing where he won the title. And then Hulk Hogan comes out for some reason, and then, yeah, so like I think that was like, okay, now we're not the biggest fans of Hulk Hogan. Um,
Yoko. That was
yeah,
Yoko's night.
that was Yoko's night, and then it was Hulk Hogan's night, baby.
I'd say
Um,
peak Hulkamania is like 84 to 90, I guess you could say.
80, 89, yeah.
maybe like 91, because when was like the Power Trip or the
Mega Powers.
Mega Power,
the Mega
Power
Power? Isn't that
Trip
like
was
91?
Stone Cold and
Yeah,
H.
you're right. Uh, the
Some
Mega
power.
Powers wasn't that like 91?
That was like 88, 89.
Yeah. So there, I mean, yes, I think up until like 91, I think people enjoyed Hulk Hogan, and then people were looking for something new, as they always do. Like it's a cyclical thing in the business, and honestly, other things in life. Um, do you feel like there's a modern day equivalent to Hogan's mainstream appeal in wrestling today?
Nope.
I mean,
Trying to
You
think.
might see them in movies, but you don't see them in music videos.
Ric Flair.
You don't see it. You don't see that. Well, yeah, and look at what generation he's from.
Are you saying like
Uh,
modern? We're saying like current.
I mean, I guess that's fair because modern, in wrestling today, because like you could say John Cena, and
Say
you
The
nope.
can say The
Rock.
Rock.
John Cena have a restaurant. John
Uh,
Cena in cartoons.
John Cena is in cartoons.
Hey,
He's in
Scooby
streaming.
Doo.
He's in
Scooby Doo,
Scooby
baby.
Doo.
Yeah, he's a
He's
Scooby
in
Doo
Scooby
dog.
Doo. I mean, The Rock has Papa Tui, and he's got. I mean, he's probably one of the richest Hollywood actors.
Moana.
Um,
I don't see restaurants in the food court named after him.
Hogan's
well, how long?
Beach.
How long did like Hogan's Spaghetti Mania last? Because I feel like it wasn't that long. Well, I
Pasta
think he
Mania.
had, he
At
had a
least
Pasta Mania. Sorry, not Spaghetti Mania.
Noodle
But
Mania.
just don't see it.
yeah,
Let's look it up.
yeah. Let's look it up. But I guess in terms of like Hogan's mainstream appeal, I think the only one that can really
Here,
like say like today, I don't like if we're talking about today, like main active wrestlers, I don't know. But before today, like after Hulk Hogan, I will say that Stone Cold Steve Austin and The Rock did go like
they're the
like they
closest.
were they were they were the closest to like pop culture, like where everyone knew Stone Cold and The Rock, and they didn't watch wrestling. Like you would see them also on Saturday Night Live and people like that. And there were like other people in the roster like Triple H and China, and I think Mankind. Like there was like and the Undertaker to some degree too. Like there was a sense of them, but I feel like Stone Cold and The Rock were like at that echelon. John Cena. I mean, I'll say John Cena too because I feel like a lot of people know John Cena outside of wrestling, and he's the most recognizable figure. Let's say in like modern wrestling, 2002, like post WCW.
Yeah,
John
I'd say
Cena is the
that.
most recognizable. Um,
I mean,
but
the
yeah,
young audience. Like,
yeah,
I mean, once you capture the young audience, I would say that you're printing money.
yeah. like Cody Rhodes is popular, but I don't think that he is that equivalent yet. And maybe it's just my old man eyes, and younger kids and people will think differently. But I don't know if Cody Rhodes has reached that echelon as the other three.
He's getting there, but he's not there yet. Let
Yeah.
him let him marinate a little bit in entertainment, and
So have
then
you? So we're talking about pop culture with Hulk Hogan. Have you guys? We've talked a little bit about some of his movies. Was there any movie that you remember that you enjoyed watching besides Rocky 3? Because I feel like you
Suburban
appear to remember these.
Commando.
The
Three
Burger King.
Ninjas Mega Mountain.
Oh yeah, he was in that. I
Episode
forgot about
86 in Dragon Ball in the tournament.
that. He didn't voice it, right? It was just someone that looked like him.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think he was in actually voiced in that. Was it Mr. not Mr. Muscles? What was the Santa with Muscles?
Santa with muscles.
Is that what it was called?
Something like that.
Before our time.
Well, it wasn't something that I guess we really paid attention to. But he was in a lot of movies. They weren't all great.
Santa with muscles. Yeah, that was it.
We got to
Yeah,
live
and
stream it.
they weren't all
Watch along.
fabulous, And I think this was when it was like early '90s. He was like, okay, I'm going to start doing more movies. And that didn't really work out for him. Like he did movies, but then Vince also wanted to start focusing on other wrestlers, and yeah, WCW called, and Hulk Hogan went to WCW in his Hulkamania um, moment.
What's
So
crazy? He owned the
yeah,
name.
what was
That's
that?
what I think. That's where Vince learned his lesson on like owning people's names.
Mm-hmm.
Because
Yeah.
think of like when when would a wrestler now, other than like Kurt Angle, go to another company and still be able to use their name like that?
Well, I mean, CM Punk, I guess, because he's kept his name. The
Well,
Rock, I think, also.
The Rock got his name back.
Was he technically still? Well, I guess I think he
Think about all the
stopped
years he
using it.
just went as Dwayne Johnson.
Yeah, but I
It
think that was a
wasn't.
conscious decision. He didn't want to use it
Nope.
because he didn't want to tie himself to wrestling.
No, WWE owned it.
Steve Austin? I guess
That's
that's his
Steve
name.
Williams in real life.
But in movies like Expendables, isn't it just Steve Austin? And
I'm sure that was an agreement.
yeah, I feel like guys in that level, they could probably do whatever the hell they want. Even if it's not in a contract, which I'm assuming it's probably is. There's probably some kind of just
Oh,
handshake
no.
deal.
Vince and now what's the rest of WWE definitely. I
Now I
mean,
don't think so.
look at Danielson.
Right, exactly. I mean, Cody Rhodes. I mean, that's his name though. You can't really trademark his
It's
name.
not. It's Cody Runnels.
No, it's true. And he was Cody Rhodes in AEW, wasn't he? He
Nope.
wasn't Cody Rhodes. He
He
was
was
Cody
Cody.
Runnels.
He was Cody.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Raheem.
Yeah, he was Cody.
Cody.
Yeah, he was Cody Raheem Rhodes. That's how you get around the censors, brother.
Mm.
So, so he goes to the WCW, and basically gets kind of like a second life in the NWO, and the heel turn at Bash at the Beach in 1996, which no one saw coming, and I think that was probably the best heel turn of all time.
It
And
was.
like I think John Cena's was. I think that the thing that I will say that makes John Cena's like number two is because I don't think they stuck the landing with um, how I wanted the heel run to uh, roll out. Let's say that because I mean I think they've even admitted that they don't want to use Travis Scott anymore. So I feel like that didn't help either. Where they weren't sure what they wanted to do with Travis Scott. He showed up for some reason with them, and then he disappeared. They don't really bring it up or anything like that. Kind of
They
soured
took him
me.
off the game.
Yeah, that kind of soured me on the creative direction of John Cena's heel turn. Don't get me wrong, I still enjoyed his like promos and stuff, but I feel like you missed something really special by not actually thinking it out because it didn't seem like they did after that. So that's why I think
That
Cena's
was the
is
final
number
boss.
two. Cena's is number two. Oh, and the final boss heel turn. I mean, he's been a heel before, so that's why that's more like number three. But I don't want to start
No,
ranking heel
I
turns.
mean Trav was
Well, just the
called by the
connection with,
final boss.
yeah, like or even like Rock's connection to the whole thing. I don't know. Has it been addressed on Raw or
Uh,
something?
kind of in interviews, but I
Enjoy the ride the Rock is putting you on.
yeah enjoy the ride. So which is fair, but yeah. So Hulk Hogan, his heel turn, I still think is probably the most shocking um,
Greatest. That's it. There's
at
nothing
Bash at the
close.
Beach,
Yeah.
and his reaction. I mean, like they were getting peppered with trash. I mean everything, and he was actually thinking of like not doing it up until that last minute.
He was
Like
scared.
they were worried that he was gonna like not show up,
Sting was in
and
the
they were gonna be
rafters.
screwed. Yeah, they were gonna be
He was in the
screwed.
match.
Yeah, he was
So
gonna be the guy.
yeah, and then it worked, thankfully, and Hollywood Hulk Hogan was born. And when it happened in 1996, why do you think the Hollywood Hogan gimmick worked so well after a decade of being the ultimate babyface?
It was just the essence, the culture of the time. It was just so much happening in the early '90s, and they were just tapping in. Bischoff, to
Right.
his credit, had his finger on the pulse as far as like what was kind of happening. Music, hip hop was huge in that time, and all these other things. It was just getting more real, right? And then WWF was cartoony, so as Bischoff always says, and every time he's being asked, he's like he wanted to make it real and that kind of
Yeah.
thing. So
He said, "Say your prayers, eat your vitamins." I said that for the money.
the money, brother.
Get those vitamins up your ass, brother.
Right? Peace
I'm
to them,
catchphrase.
boy.
I said would. Yeah.
So,
No.
how do you feel? How do you feel like the NWO kind of reshaped wrestling storytelling and like faction dynamics? Because I feel like factions, there
Bullet
were
Club,
teams,
baby.
Art Foundation, all that kind of stuff. But I feel like the NWO was like what made like factions and stables like super cool.
Cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
How do you feel like they reshaped wrestling, the NWO?
I mean, it's forever changed. Like you just can't go back as far as like
They and
you put a couple guys in a ring or women in a ring, and it's just like they're taking something from that playbook. You know what I'm saying?
other than Rick Rude and Shawn Michaels, can you name other cool heels before that? In Razor, but you
Ric Flair. No,
look
no.
at Rick. Yeah, Ric Flair. Okay,
Mm,
but how many
Mm,
like
Iron Sheik.
were there cool
not
heels?
corny. Yeah, I'm not corny.
Yeah, like
Uh,
Sheik wasn't a cool heel. Everybody just hated Sheik. Like, I mean, we also don't know, but like we're told that everybody like Sheik just had so much heat that they cut his tires. They did this like
They
Cactus
just hated
Jack.
him
They
because he was a
slashed his tires.
foreigner. He wasn't cool.
Right,
They just didn't like him because he was a
right.
foreigner.
Like, where's the bad guys that they cheered on other than like a Rude or an
Yeah,
HBK,
yeah, that's fair. That's true. I
a
feel like that
Razor, a
they
Diesel?
definitely made heels to be the anti-hero was cool because like Steve Austin was after this, like the evolution of it. Um, do you feel like NWO's Hogan era was more impactful than Hulkamania? If we look at
I
pop
think we're
culture,
getting to the point in time where the answer is yes.
What's
Like,
the what's the time frame though? Because let's say 94 or
so
5 if we're talking, and then like really like what
we'll go
98 9.
we'll go rough. Like, think of wrestlers influenced by like 84 to 90, and then think of wrestlers influenced by 93 to 2000.
Yeah, I
hmm
mean it was
Like,
definitely just different. Yeah, it was definitely like just crazy. I mean, it's weird because it's like, I mean, he's the same guy that, again, like we're talking Hogan here, that put wrestling on the map in the 80s, and then, it was doing its thing, it was tapering off, and then again, to
reshaped it.
to his credit, kind of lit the fire for this attitude thing that started to happen, which forced WWF to compete, right? So, you could make the argument that if there was no, NWO Hogan, there's no Steve Austin necessarily or any of those guys. So,
If there's no NWO, is there a Bullet Club?
I mean,
Is there a AEW? Is there like a cool heel that's called the Cleaner, Kenny Omega?
yeah. I mean, wrestling, as far as we know, I mean, it could not be, it wouldn't exist in the form that it does right now, I would say. I don't think that's
yeah.
controversial.
I think Hulkamania is like around 85 through
90.
90, 91.
Up
I
until
guess,
Taker dropped him on that chair.
That
yeah.
that
I mean,
first Ultimate Warrior feud, I think, was the end of that.
Oh, you got me, brother.
I think the other thing that was around the same time, and I think that also contributed to Hulk Hogan's drop in popularity, was the steroid scandal, which was like around 90,
2.
92, 93. And I mean, he was basically like on all the talk shows. The court trials were on the news too. And
Vince
like,
had a broken neck,
yeah, exactly. He came into the courtroom with a neck brace because he thought he'd get more sympathy.
some brownie
Um,
points.
yeah, that is some like WrestleMania or wrestling like uh, gimmick.
Like,
Carney
sir, you're not in the
shit.
writer's room.
Yeah, so it looks like Kurt Angle with like a fucking tiny cowboy hat. I think that's the vibe I'm getting. But yeah, but yeah, the steroid scandal. I think it's shown a light on all the wrestlers with the roids. So the notion of taking your vitamins and saying your prayers meant something completely different after they realized he
You
was
didn't say
taking
what vitamin.
vitamins in the ass. Um, so I think Hulkamania ended around like 92, 93, and then he went to WCW in 94,
Played bass
and
for
he
Metallica, brother.
He tried.
No, that
he
was the
tried.
rumor, though.
Mars said, "I don't know what he's talking about." um, so yeah, it'd be like, so I'd say Hulkamania. I feel like Hulkamania lasted longer. And the NWO, I mean, the NWO was like 6, 7, 8, 9, like 4 years. I mean, I guess it lasted through 2000, but I don't know if people,
And then they were resurrected in '02. And
yeah,
unfortunately, in '02, to everybody's demise, they were over.
yeah.
Mhm.
So
They didn't
I'll
get
say
booked
like NWO lasted maybe like 5 years.
for
Um,
life.
and because I feel like Hulkamania, I think that lasted longer because I feel like people in pop culture, when they hear Hulkamania, like people know NWO, but I feel like Hulkamania is more well established, well known to like a regular person if you thought
Yeah.
about wrestling. And then the other thing, like it's the same with how NWO was slightly resuscitated in WWF when they got purchased by Vince. Hulkamania had another reign for like what, 2 years?
02 to
2003,
05.
02 to 05, right? So like 3 years. And he actually became what, champion once?
He was the last WWF champion and the first WWE champion.
Yeah. So
Cool
I mean,
stat.
Hulkamania had another 3 years, and if this was also the same timeline when Hollywood Hogan faced The Rock, and I think that's when he became uh, red and yellow Hulk
Yeah,
Hogan after that, right?
he, yep, he came in as NWO, and then the story is, but it's Hogan's words, so
Yeah, yeah.
take it
So,
with a grain of salt, but it's pretty close to the story that I've heard. Uh,
yes. So I'll say, like, on the whole, Hulkamania was, I think,
yeah,
the more impactful in terms of just shaping a generation, and I think having people's eyeballs put on the product. Um, and NWO did too, but I think Hulkamania had a longer lasting look. Um, so how do
it's what he
you?
retired
What
as.
was that?
It's what he retired as was the red and yellow.
Yeah. Let's take Hulk Hogan in like the Hulkamania version. Do you think we can draw a straight line from Hulkamania to later baby faces like John Cena or Roman Reigns? Do you feel like he was the prototype, and John Cena was, I think that was his gimmick name, but do you feel like do you see a through line from like Hulkamania and Hulk Hogan, that kind of um, template, to someone like John Cena?
I see it's a Cena.
For sure, Cena. At
Yeah,
least he's the most immediate
Colorful
there.
shirts.
Child
and probably
appeal.
Always
probably
finds a
Cody
way to make
Rhodes.
it back.
Yeah,
I
Cody
think
Rhodes
Cody
too.
Rhodes. I think Cody Rhodes has found a nice way to use language
Hmm.
to differentiate himself, and also I don't think Cody falls into that like template ass type of wrestling style.
That's true, and I don't think people viewed him as like this unstoppable person.
Right.
Like Hulk Hogan it was like an action figure with
L-
like
Yeah.
kind of like what John Cena was.
Yeah, like I think Cody's thing is like he's gonna find a way, like whether like even like if you like I think of like Cody versus Brock. You know, like
Hmm.
remember how like Cody attacked him right away
Hmm.
before the bell rang?
He's got
Yeah.
true grit. I mean, I like to
Yeah,
point to the pec tear. You know, like
Hmm.
that was messed
that
up,
too.
and he struggled through. There's more of a struggle, but there's a perseverance, and it's the drama of the struggle of him getting to it. The Cody story, he lost the first time, and then he gets it back. It's that kind of thing. So he's not this unstoppable force, but more of a believable force, I would say.
Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah. Like when Cody does heelish things, there's like a good like feeling of like, oh, he did it because that was the only way. Like,
Strategy.
yeah, like it's like no, he did that because he knows they'll bend the rules, so he bent the rules a little bit real quick.
So, what do you guys think in terms of Hogan's later career, including his runs in TNA?
I'm not gonna. I pretend TNA didn't happen.
And a later return to WWE. But do you guys have any thoughts on that, or?
I just have a distinct memory of that era of when I worked at uh, this liquor store and I was in the back and they had TNA on the small little TV and you got Hogan. It was airing the same time I think as I don't know if it was SmackDown or if it was
It was
Raw.
Raw.
It was
You
It
Raw.
watched
was
the
Raw.
you watched the Bret Hart reunion in the back of a liquor store? Is
Yeah.
that what you're talking about?
No, like well, Hulk Hogan shows up on TNA and Bischoff's there and this whole thing and they're like live for the first time in a while or something.
I think
Yeah,
that
that
was
was
up
the
against
same night.
2010, like
yeah, it
2010,
was it was up against the
2011.
Bret Hart show.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, Bret Hart's return to Raw in 10 years or whatever it was at that time, or 12 years, 13 years, whatever it
Yeah.
was.
That's my most fondest memory of that era of TNA. Shortly turned to Impact.
Did any of you watch Hogan Knows Best? Because I feel like there were so many reality shows like Ozzy Osbourne, who also recently passed away. Like the way that
Sharon.
All the VH1 stars of that time.
yeah, I mean like the
No,
way
Ozzy
that
was on TV.
Ozzy was like his that series I feel like made him popular again with like young kids because
Yep.
they're like, oh, it's the guy from the reality show instead of like being the Black Sabbath singer
It's the
or the
guy from
Ozzy
Little Nicky.
or Ozzy Osbourne, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the guy from
Yeah.
Little Nicky or is the guy from the Osbournes. Um,
Yeah.
did you guys watch Hogan Knows Best? Because I didn't, because I mean I didn't have access to it, but
I
I
just saw
watched like 2-3 episodes.
I just saw
I don't remember shit.
I just saw this like clip recently where he's like in the car and he's like replaying the same
Some
song. Like,
Jeezy.
yeah, he's like replaying it like 3 times. He's got the
Dude,
window rolled down and shit.
so like he's also in like Dodge Ram that's a SRT 10, so that was like one of the first SRTs that these kids love these days.
Mhm.
Like, and that was basically a pickup with a Viper engine, dude. So he was going crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, now it's just like we're talking about this. It's gonna be nothing but that in the reels now.
Yeah,
TikTok.
dude.
So, how do you feel like in terms of the he was a like a popular wrestling figure, but he wasn't always popular backstage in terms of backstage politics. And you know that doesn't work for me, brother. I mean, we say that thing all the time, right? How do you how do you square that with his character in terms of like his personal you want to say ambitions, image? How do you feel about how he did politics backstage?
I mean, I think to your normie casual wrestling fan, like most people are not paying attention to that side. Like it's only really the people who are in the weeds or listening to this podcast, obviously, um,
Mhm.
that pay attention to that side of Hulk Hogan. But I mean, it is a reality. Like if you're a wrestling fan and you're consuming this stuff, you probably understand like how stuff was. And I mean, to if you want to blame somebody, really, it's Bischoff giving these guaranteed contracts and giving them full
Creative
creative
control.
control over
Yeah.
all their stuff. So really, there was a double-edged sword. It was the downfall of WCW because it was just like again the what's the saying go? The inmates run the asylum, that kind of
Hmm.
thing.
Yep.
Yeah. So it's unfortunate, but it's like you could see it, but then it's just like going into business for yourself type of deal, which is then detrimental to the rest of the product. Even if you printing money and you're this person and you've earned that and all that kind of stuff. I get it, but it's just still it's not good for the at the end of the day. Clearly, because WCW doesn't exist anymore. So
How do you feel like Hogan? Do you feel like Hogan remained in the spotlight for too long as a wrestler, or did he manage his aging legacy well? And I feel like the stereotype of like the wrestler who always comes back for that one last match, and we've made jokes about Ric Flair having his 20th retirement match. How do you
His
feel?
last match.
Yeah, his last match where he actually
scratched out.
dies in the ring. How do you feel like Hogan's career, everything included? Do you feel like he went on too long? Was there
I
a
feel like he went
bowing
on
period?
too long. I feel like if he would have found a way to get out of the ring, kind of like Dusty.
Yeah,
Like if he just would
mentor.
have chose the if he just would have found the right time to get out of the ring and like be a creative force for others,
I just
I
think.
I
Yeah,
feel
go
like
ahead.
he would have lived longer. Like I don't know how true it is, of course, but it's like putting over Goldberg in the Georgia Dome.
Hmm.
Like if that was a Hogan call, that's like a very very important call to the trajectory of wrestling.
Hmm.
I mean, he lost to Brock Lesnar, I think, too.
Losing the Brock, yep. He lost to Rock.
Yeah. It's weird. I mean, it's just like he it seems like he can do the right stuff. It doesn't seem like he's like just like one speed like yeah, like the meme doesn't work for me, brother. But I think it's situational. But I mean, he himself understands that he's a brand. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
it's kind of like, well, where's the money at? Is this good for money? And it's kind of, I mean, he obviously is in his own best interest, and he probably, that's what drives him. So yeah, it's tough, but I mean, again, like that's why there should be multiple people in the room, and then having the second, third, fourth, fifth opinion on what actually should be happening for the betterment of the product itself, versus like, well, I'm Hulk Hogan and I'm good for this or that, and it might not
Yeah.
be true.
I mean, like famously, like Shawn Michaels was supposed to have 3 matches with Hulk Hogan. I think it ended up just being one. And
Yep.
then from
That
frustration, I
was
think
fine.
HBK oversold the shit out of every move in that match. I think it was SummerSlam 2005, if I'm not
Yep.
mistaken, which is good timing because that means it's the 20th anniversary of that match in
We should
August.
watch it, watch along.
Yeah, honestly, I think that'd be fun too. That actually gives me a good next episode topic is the HBK versus Hogan saga. The
H
background and the match itself.
he did a lot for Randy,
Yeah, and I
even though
think
he
that was
beat Randy.
that was a year after, right? That he did
Yeah.
the Randy Orton. That's the one that I remember because I think that's the year that we started watching again. So that was like our first SummerSlam that we actually watched live.
I think that was
Was
his last SummerSlam.
Yeah, so that was Randy Orton
Dang, we're about to watch
versus
SummerSlam
Hulk
next week, dog.
Hogan.
Hmm?
SummerSlam, yes. And we'll also be
Not
having
this week.
our predictions. It is this week. This
Wait, it's Monday.
Saturday.
This weekend, yeah.
Yeah, this Saturday and Sunday.
Oh
I'm
yeah,
hosting
2 days.
Sunday. Um, so okay, so yes. So going back to that initial question. So in terms of remaining in the spotlight too long, did I get a definitive answer from you guys? Do you feel like
He did.
Yeah,
he too long?
He
Yeah.
did. He could have found a way to be a creative force without being in the ring.
I would
Yeah.
say if he went off
But I
into the
get it.
sunset after Hogan Rock, I guess. Like I feel like that
Or
was,
Randy.
or Randy. I mean, yeah, like anything after that is, no.
Anything after 2005 or 6, I just
Yeah. Like the
Men in Black.
occasional appearance,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, because I mean it's
Uh,
yeah, the
Men,
occasional appearance.
uh,
Yeah,
yeah,
I mean, I do also think that he stuck around too long, and there's nothing wrong with being in the business, and
right,
like you can cut a promo, you can make an appearance, you could do a leg drop here and there, but
right.
in terms of like active in the ring, um, yeah, I feel like there could have been like a proper retirement, but maybe he never wanted to do like a proper retirement because he felt like he can never truly leave the business. Like I feel like Ric Flair, I mean, he at least had an angle where he was retiring. And John Cena, of course, is doing his year long. This the last time is now retirement tour, which is unprecedented from someone of his stature. And I will be curious to see if he actually keeps his promise and doesn't wrestle again. But I feel like John Cena is the person that can
I think
actually
he
stick to
will.
that. Yeah. So yes, I do think Hulk Hogan probably stuck around a little too long. And of course, his outside of wrestling did not help his
His
reputation.
epic
Um,
meltdowns.
but in terms of like his promo work, when you're comparing him to other people like Stone Cold Steve Austin or The Rock or Shawn Michaels, John Cena, where would you rank Hogan as a promo guy? Do you feel like he's top of the
Top
pack,
three,
somewhere in the middle?
top three, top five.
I don't know
I
if I'd put
think
him there.
of when when I think of mic work, I think of 84 to 89, just like being able to take a whole arena and the amount of people that used to watch on TV, like just being able to hook all that in.
Hmm.
I think of him saying in '96, all you could stick it, and then just like garbage flowing into the ring. I think of the 83 weeks because for those 83 weeks he was usually behind the stick opening the shows.
Yeah.
So I gotta give it to him for that. I think of one.
All right, you changed my mind. I'm convinced.
What were you gonna say?
I was just like, initially my reaction was like, I don't know if I'd put him top 5 or 3, but when you factor in the behind the scenes stuff and the Mr. T stuff and all that kind of stuff, like very animated, it was like on brand for like the 80s as far as just like super, over the top, and it's memorable. That's another thing, is like promos should be memorable. These things should be something that you can quote, or definitely one of the quotable guys. Like if you have quotable,
Brother.
yeah, I mean, like people are saying that stuff like nonstop forever, most likely. So catchphrases, sure, it gets stale after that, but it's just like once you got it, you got it. So I guess you got to give it to him.
Yeah,
Somewhere
I
up
mean,
there.
I think for branding and stuff, I do think it is great. I think from my personal taste, I think his promo is more uh, middle of the pack, I'd say.
Nah,
Because
man.
well, like I do think he's like a catchphrase machine, absolutely.
Oh yeah, 24-inch pythons,
Yeah, I
boy.
mean, like
Greatest hits.
he goes through the Rolodex of that shit, when he's on the microphone. So like that, like I prefer like a Shawn Michaels or a Chris Jericho even, or CM Punk, of course. In terms of like promo work, promo being on the microphone, and Cody Rhodes even like in giving
Throw
their
his
story.
dusty ass over the top rope.
Yeah, exactly. Timeless, timeless. Um,
Perfect timing.
Perfect timing,
We are a
actually. Even.
Chi-Town shoot.
That was perfect timing. So I like those are the kind of guys that I prefer with promo work. So he was very his delivery, he is charismatic, catchphrases and stuff. Yes. I mean like that talk about branding. I mean that's the kind of stuff that people can repeat like a commercial, right? Or a jingle because he said that all the time. And it worked for a little bit. I do think it gets a little stale eventually because dude, brother, Mean Gene, like he has the same cadence in his promo work. um so it worked for a bit, but I personally prefer a little more variety. um Now what do you guys think about in terms of him being a face or a heel? Which one do you feel like he worked better as?
Mm,
I mean, at this point, wasn't he always a heel?
real life heel, brother.
It's-
Yeah,
So, like,
backstage too.
here's here's and I know I've talked about this on here before, or even like with you guys, like privately or just amongst ourselves. But it's like, so I grew up on NWO Hogan, and like because the people around, like the adults around me, thought NWO was so cool, and I didn't know that they thought it was cool because they grew up on Hulkamania. That it's like when the NWO would beat up people, I'd just be like, well, it's those guys' fault for not having enough friends. Like, so like it's tough,
It's a numbers game.
right? It's like, is he bad or is he smart?
Yeah, it depends who you ask, doesn't it?
Yeah,
That was the whole anti-hero thing. Uh, in the
and,
90s, which the same thing like Steve Austin, right? Like he was
and
a heel technically
right,
for a little bit, but
and then it's like fast forward, you know, NWO goes to WWE as a group of bad guys, and like you got 9-year-old me in the crowd who thought as a 4-year-old that stuff was cool. So what does he think as a 9-year-old?
mhm.
That it's even cooler. And so it's just like he gets a pop, they get a pop, you know, WrestleMania 18 happens, he's still getting a pop, and then he comes out in Hulkamania. So it's like I don't know. It's a tough call because it's almost like the Stone Cold thing. It's like was it for a kid? Was it like enough heel to become a face? Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, it's all about perspective, but
right. Like
I mean, if it, without weaseling out of your question, um,
for me,
I
it's heel.
yeah, I mean, I think I prefer his heel stuff. I think there's the rawness of that stuff is just something I just like more out of my wrestlers rather than like just squeaky clean good guy kind of a thing. You know what I mean? Like they'll have moments where they're like good or whatever, but it's not just like absolute, you know, super nice guy or whatever. So
Yeah.
Kenny Omega became the most popular person not under the WWE branch, being a cool bad guy
Hmm.
with a faction that wore black and white and won matches by the Young Bucks running in, by Hangman running in, by all those guys running in, Tamatonga.
I mean, it really comes down to just the era of wrestling. But I would say the the squeaky clean baby face. I think it works in pockets of time. Like you said, it's cyclical. Like through the '80s, obviously it worked. A lot of influence from, again, political, et cetera, et cetera. John Cena worked because, I mean, I guess it just did. Even though depending who you ask, but like successful financially amongst the children.
Yeah, and he was, and John Cena's, like he was like an action figure, but his worked in his era was because like it wasn't like a patriotic type thing necessarily. It was like hustle, loyalty, respect. So he was doing like
He found other values that were
yeah, that worked for him, and then they kind of like made the character from those specific things. Like he wasn't waving around an American flag, even though like he was the doing the tribute to the troops and that kind of
He
stuff.
was the
The
Marine
salute,
dog.
yeah. So a little bit of it was more muted than like Hulk Hogan's was like an in your face like his
I'm
literally
a real
yeah, literally the theme song was I am a real American. So a little
and
different.
he fought for your rights
Yeah, and John Cena
and your
was a
life.
rapper. And John Cena was a rapper and had an album, like it was a different trajectory of where their character went.
Different
So
grassroots.
yeah, so in terms of we'll wrap this up in a little bit, but in terms of Hulk Hogan as a character, and let's even keep the same person. Do you feel like if he started his career in today's wrestling landscape, do you think it could work with like with all the wrestling styles that we have now? you know, everything crossed over, New Japan, luchador style, and all that kind of stuff. And then you have like a Hulk Hogan, who is a catchphrase machine, leg drop, scoop slam type of
Greatest
guy.
hits.
Yeah,
Do you
they're in
feel like
AEW right now, brother. Ah!
well, what do you think? Do you think he can work in 2025?
Uh,
Not
I
the
think it.
politics or anything.
I,
I'm talking about like just
I
the character.
I don't know. I think his New Japan time kind of says he could.
yeah,
Hmm.
but even the landscape of New Japan in the '80s, I feel is just different.
No, dude, Ishii.
No,
Not that he's
Ishii.
from the '80s, but it's like he's that old AJPW and stuff like that type of style. Eddie Kingston's that kind of style. Like
Yeah,
Gunther's that kind of style. Like that Gunther JBL.
But can Hulk Hogan be Hulkamania Hulk Hogan, or would he be like El Grande Americano
Mr.
type?
America.
Like yeah, like just
Are you
he's
Hulk Hogan?
yeah, it's a gimmick,
No,
but
brother.
can he cross into like pop culture mainstream like he did in the 80s? I would argue that he wouldn't.
I don't think
Um,
so.
I would
No.
argue that he wouldn't. Um,
I don't think behemoths are as much of a spectacle as they were back then.
yeah, I mean, like, and that's the other thing. I don't know if he'd be able to do it because he need the steroids, but
No,
like,
dude, that's why he'd be able to do it because he could still do them.
yeah, but like the 24-inch pythons and like that whole shtick, I don't know if it can work in 2025. I do think it was like, again, like so many factors that can only work in the 80s, and it just worked, and it came together, and he, surpassed wrestling itself and was part of Americana and pop culture as a whole. Um, and yeah, but I don't think that that character now can function in today's wrestling landscape. But as we wrap it up, well, I guess I just want to end on more of an open-ended question for you guys, and I guess I could start with you, Chris. How will you remember Hulk Hogan?
Um, I would say it's red and yellow, baby. The Hulkamania. I mean, that's the most immediate thing that just kind of pops up when you think
Mhm.
Hulk Hogan. Lifting weights, like training, like that's the main thing that'll pop into my head, man.
How about you, David?
uh, I I cut him off at 2005, 2007. Like
Yeah, same.
like when he passed away, like when I read it, I didn't believe it, and then when I read it again, I thought of a 9-year-old that went to his first wrestling show and Hollywood Hogan just happens to be there.
Mhm.
Uh, I tried not to think of the crazy things that Terry has said. And, uh, well, yeah, like I think that's the easiest way to put it. Is like I think of like all the when I heard of it, I thought of like my first action figures. I thought of video games. I thought of like personal experience, and it doesn't take away from all the other stuff. But it's like I just gave it a moment. It's kind not that he was a family member, but it's like when your kooky uncle croaks and you don't think about all the other things that he said. You think about him taking you to the park or him teaching you something.
Yeah,
And yeah,
the kooky racist uncle that we joked about.
yeah,
Yeah,
like I said, like and you know,
yeah.
as a Filipino and Mexican, I'm gonna say it like we all have those type of family members, whether we're minority or whatever We might have family members like that, or we might have childhood figures that like we grow up and we find out that's kind of what they're like. And but I tried to think about like the inner child, and like my inner child was I don't want to say like hurt, but it was affected, like where it kind of made me just like think about it. It summed up everything. I think now we're officially at that point as wrestling fans where we're gonna start getting hit with that, as opposed to like the generation before us that gets hit like that.
Mhm.
And yeah, fucking sucks to hear anybody die. I wouldn't wish death on anybody. Uh, I mean, the only times in our lifetime where we've seen death get celebrated was Osama bin Laden. Like, and I don't think he's on quite the
he's
trajectory as Osama bin Laden.
he's not
Thank you,
on the
John
same.
Cena.
Yeah, like,
Yeah, John
it,
Cena
it,
killed
it,
Osama bin Laden.
and that's the easiest way for me to put it. It's like, okay, like I have to see other people that I consider my heroes be on their podcast and YouTube and things on their own channels, and cry their eyes out. I don't want to see DDP like that. I don't want to see Kevin Nash like that.
Mhm.
Like, and yeah, that's just kind of where I'm at. Like, I understand what he said. I understand what he said was completely freaking wrong. And you know, Devon Dudley had said it where it's just Hogan had like personally apologized to him. He saved his life a couple times, and Devon's a person that believes that you shouldn't judge a person at their lowest.
Mhm.
And if you look at that time frame of Hulk Hogan, outside of that personal collapse and complete lapse of anything, like that that wasn't the guy that motivated kids. That wasn't the guy that motivated the wrestlers that we watch. That wasn't the guy that inspired anything that inspired us.
Mhm.
Like our favorite wrestlers, that's their favorite wrestler.
Yeah, I think I'll echo I'll echo similarly in terms of like his career up until 2005 and 2006. Um, as a character, as a wrestling figure, I feel like you can't deny his star power and how he affected the wrestling business as a whole. I do think that his character and propelled like pro wrestling to like the medium that we love to its current heights, and
Right.
he was a big part of it. So I'll definitely won't deny that. And of course, like you said, controversial, absolutely. I won't deny, and you can't deny. As a human being, for me personally, obviously, not the biggest fan of his
Later
um,
life.
later life worldview, that kind of stuff. And
Right.
I can disagree on that with him. But of course, he passed away. He has a family, so I don't wish um, ill will towards the people who are, um, you know, basically grieving right now because a family member passed away, a close friend passed away. So I think I can separate not separate. I think I can acknowledge what he contributed to the business, and also disagree on his personal philosophies. So like for me, viewing Hulk Hogan, that's uh, kind of where I am. But I think he deserves his Hall of Fame spot, and his legacy in wrestling. I mean, you can't deny it. Um, like him or hate him, I'll say that. So Hogan as a wrestling star, thank you for everything that you did to the business. Rest in peace, brother.
When
And
Darth
yeah,
Vader died, the next time we seen him, he was Anakin Skywalker.
That's true. But yes, that is a wrap for this episode of the Chi-Town Shoot podcast. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, rate us, and leave your feedback. Tune in next time for more wrestling madness. Until then, keep marking out.